You want accessibility, you disabled sissy who is struggling in this sick community, you have to pay $70 for it. You can't get out of here, you disabled peasant. Fun fact number 1. So according to Naughty Dog, they made this game specifically for accessibility purposes, to grant access to those with different physical abilities, less fortunate than us, and unable to play the game. Naughty Dog team like always to think highly of themselves. They are like higher beings than other developers. And I'm saying to them, people are always good in their own story. A villain like to have a justification for every villainous action he will commit. This is a case study for a developer trying its best to destroy its own legacy. A legacy built by Naughty Dog on the shoulders and from the hard work of its talented team. Through crunches and crunches, a developers that managed to create a diverse library of video games, a crazy library that has a huge fan base. For some unknown reason, Naughty Dog decided to spit on its fan base. And with the blessing of Sony, they decided to remake The Last of Us. Sony has ignored the fans who are on their knees begging them to remake games that has been developed decades ago. Games that are actually unplayable for the current generation of gamers. And then, for some reason, they decided to develop a game that was developed less than 10 years ago. Correction, not actually this. It has been released now 3 times in less than 10 years. But still...
Man, can't deny that view.
So, Last of Us 1. Last of Us 1 is a brilliant game, no question about it. A turning point in the history of the industry that managed to evolve the storytelling and the cinematic experiences of video games. A journey of 2 well-written characters in a very personal and mature story about a grieving father delivering a girl that holds a cure for a very different, a really innovative version of the zombie apocalypse. The clickers who stressed us out... Oh my god. And not only Joel and Ellie what made the game storytelling and the character arcs great. The characters they met on the road and how every experience had a clear impact on their evolution. Taking us to the finale that can be one of the most video games controversial endings. It proven how video games can be a powerful storytelling tool, as it provides something other medias cannot provide: engagement. You can touch these characters, you can walk with them and have their moment-to-moment experience. And the PlayStation 3 version of this game is still playable in its current form. The graphics are acceptable, the animations are fluid and super good, and the gameplay is still intact. So why? Why remake it? This takes us to fun fact number 2. It's all lies. Naughty Dog made a video telling us that this is not a cash grab, with justifications for the insulting full price tag. These justifications are accessibility features, the looks, and slight improvement in the AI copied from The Last of Us 2 and that's it. This is some kind of an American joke that I'm failing to understand because I don't get it, guys. Okay, challenge accepted, Naughty Dog. Let us question what is a remake and why does a game need to have a remake by applying the criteria of Resident Evil 2. A game that changed its game and movement engine completely with a new camera, moving from tank controls to the over-the-shoulder camera. A 3 generations graphical leap from the PS1 to the PS4, new game modes and additional content, new dialogue and improved story, new animations, new enemies AI like the phenomenal Mr. X, the stalker enemy roaming the map looking for us during most of our playthrough, and more importantly, the game levels design was remade from scratch. I don't think I can give enough praises for the admirable police station level design. Now, going back from this lens to The Last of Us Part 1 remake, you can easily conclude that Naughty Dog were not even trying to remake it. It is the same exact game, the same exact cutscenes with no changes in the direction, same exact dialogue, same exact music, same exact levels, and same exact content. Actually, less content. The multiplayer has been removed from this game. No new levels, or at least redesign of the already existing levels to remedy the issues that were in the original game, like the ladders and put Ellie on a box puzzles. Using again the criteria of Resident Evil 2, if it's up to me and this is not a cash grab, I would have used what I've learned from Uncharted 4 and Part 2 of the game. I would have added some open areas like the one from Uncharted Madagascar level or the first level of Part 2. And we get more character moments and maybe get to explore the interesting world more, and by this we get the fan service of having more time with Joel and Ellie before the shocking events of Part 2. But this requires new story sequences to be written, new level designs, new voice acting and mocap sessions, and we're not gonna do this here. They haven't gone the extra mile by developing the gameplay and the mechanics by adding some of Part 2's new features like the prone and the dodge that really improved the gameplay in Part 2 and made it more fun. And the hypocritical lies doesn't stop here. What made this more disgusting for me is that Neil and his team came out in a video and took full credit for the development of this game. But if you are following the news or know anything about the development of this remake, you will know that they took full credit for the work done by Visual Arts Services Group led by Michael Mombauer, who actually left the company after this game has been took from them and handed over to Naughty Dog. Not all of them, but most of them as far as I understand from Jason Schreier's article. So if Sony and Naughty Dog are humane or righteous as they want us to believe, they would have stopped for one moment and gave credit for these guys. Fun fact number 3, and I'm saying it's a fun fact though it is really actually sad. The Corpo Zombies and the lickers of Sony and Naughty Dog are trying to defend the game by telling us to piss off. If you don't like it, don't buy it. I call this a lame and a narrow-headed argument. Because actually, game studios are the ones who are going to respond to this argument. Game developers are making sure in all occasions to share with us and express their complaints that the game development process is becoming more complex and more hard every day, and that it is really sucking their limited resources and really becoming time consuming. So why the hell waste your precious time and these limited resources on making such cash grabby remakes? Like, imagine with me if Naughty Dog, instead of this remake, developed a full actual game and developed The Last of Us 1.5. A prequel to The Last of Us 2, where we can play with Joel in the events between The Last of Us 1 and 2 and discover the challenges he and Tommy faced to develop Jackson's settlement and get to know the new characters we briefly met and knew in The Last of Us 2 and see how the relationship between Joel and Ellie was developing to what we saw in The Last of Us 2 flashbacks. A response to the constructive criticism of the sequel by fixing its flaws and story gaps, and just as a respect of the fan base of the game, and believe me, they would have made tons of money with it. Man, if Neil Druckmann got this idea from me, I want my goddamn cut. Remember guys, we are not criticizing because we are a bunch of hateful people like the game devs and their lickers trying to make us look like. We are criticizing things because we don't like them and because we want them to be better. We want a better gaming experience for you and for ourselves. Naughty Dog, in my opinion, was always one of the influential game developers in every generation in gaming except for the last one. In the PlayStation 1 era, they developed the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, one of the best platformers of all time. On the PlayStation 2, they developed Jak and Daxter trilogy and their spin-offs, again one of the iconic action-adventure games that are still playable till today. And in the PlayStation 3 era, they developed the Uncharted trilogy, one of the best action-adventure games ever, an IP that managed to shake the fanbase of the legendary Tomb Raider series, and forced Square Enix to completely change Tomb Raider formula if they wanted to still compete with them. And then came The Last of Us, like I said, a turning point in the video game industry's history. But then in the era of the PlayStation 4, they made Uncharted 4. And don't get me wrong, it's a good game, but it was mainly more of the same. And in the end of the generation, they came with The Last of Us 2. Another great game, but with similar content again, and less interesting and more controversial story. Point is, are you seeing the decline? Or again, am I the only one seeing it? And after all, I'm still recommending this game for you. If you played The Last of Us 1 before, then wait for this game to at least get a 50% discount, which will not happen in 1 year, I think. And if you never played it before, then man, just buy the game. you will experience something that you never experienced before. For me, this game managed to succeed in one thing. It managed to make me realize how The Last of Us 2 was a much more inferior game to The Last of Us 1. But this is something we will discuss in part 2 of this video. See what I'm doing? Part 2, part 1, like, help me, huh? Guys, I'm not saying that there aren't a lot of negative people on the social media now who are trying to monetize hate. But it's all up to you to filter what you're seeing. Like what you like, dislike what you dislike. It's all up to you. We are just here to help you make decisions, but more importantly, stop being a corpo zombie. And that's that for today. Take care of yourself, guys. Peace.